A missing child is every parent's worst nightmare, but in the 2018 case of 4-year-old Aranza Maria Ochoa Lopez, her mother was the one who kidnapped her. It turns out that over 99% of child abductions are done by a relative or someone who already knows the child. This news is concerning, and it makes it difficult to know who to trust. Sometimes the people closest to us are the ones that hurt us the most. On October 25th of that year, Esmeralda Lynn Lopez went to the Vancouver Mall in Washington for a supervised visit. Aranza was put into the foster care system the year before her abduction, when she was just 3 years old, due to suspected physical abuse. The young girl had multiple bruises over her arms and legs. It's believed that the child's mom, Esmeralda, was the one responsible. The woman had a history of substance abuse and often behaved erratically. She was born on September 16, 1997, in Portland, Oregon. We don't know too many details about Esmeralda's upbringing, but we do know that she had Aranza at only 16 years old, when she was still a kid herself. Now, we understand having a rough childhood is no excuse for abusive behavior. We're just trying to get a peek into her mind. She may have been suffering from mental health issues, and after what she did to Aranza, we wouldn't be surprised if that were true. Aranza was born in 2014 on April 17th. Up until the kidnapping, she was raised in Washington in a small town called Centralia. Once the bruises on Aranza were seen and CPS was tipped off, the mother came under scrutiny. With Esmeralda's rocky past and the fact she was refused to be screened for mental problems, the home environment for Aranza was officially deemed unsafe, and authorities put her in temporary care. During the supervised visit at the mall, which Esmeralda was permitted to do twice a week, she and Aranza were escorted by a male Child Protective Services agent. The two went to see a movie together, and it seemed like an ordinary visit until Esmeralda asked the man if she could take her daughter to the bathroom. The agent gave their approval, so with Aranza at her side, Esmeralda quickly fled the mall. The two of them hopped inside a stolen vehicle before driving away. 2 days later, an Amber Alert was sent out to parts of California. Law enforcement believed the girl's mother was taking her to Mexico to avoid capture. The alert gave a brief description of the car they were driving, a 2005 Chevy Cobalt. Many people online seemed confused by a brief message in the notice saying BLK 1552. They weren't aware that this was the car's license plate number. Perhaps if this had been more obvious, Aranza and Esmeralda could have been found quicker. Sadly, that just wasn't the case. The mother and the daughter made it to Mexico and avoided authorities for a year or so. Eventually, Mrs. Lopez was captured in Puebla and extradited back to the States, but Aranza's whereabouts in 2019 were still unknown. A few people were arrested in connection to the child abduction. They included 21-year-old Eric Garcia Valdivinos, 20-year-old Javier Hernandez Reyes, 18-year-old Sherry Trigueros, and finally, 16-year-old Alejandro Zulu Sap. These suspects were also tied to a kidnapping case which had ties to another stolen car in the kidnapping plot. For that crime in particular, Lopez had to pay $1,500 in restitution to the owner of the vehicle. The owner, Jose Orellana Gomez, had apparently been ambushed by 3 men. They allegedly held him captive for over 12 hours after they tricked him. The men tied him up, stole his bank information, and stole his car. When questioned, Jose revealed that he and Esmeralda knew each other. He agreed to give her a ride that day in 2018, so he went to her apartment. That's when the group jumped him. After being captive for so long, Jose managed to free himself and call police. While this was happening, Aranza and Esmeralda were on the run. The other men involved in Jose's brief capture received a max of 17 months in prison for their roles. Esmeralda was tried in court on charges of second-degree kidnapping, robbery, and custodial interference. When questioned about what she did, the 23-year-old admitted that she wasn't proud of what she'd done. In a nonchalant apology, she said, "I feel bad about it. I'm sorry." Now imagine being in court and hearing this. The woman not only took her daughter to a foreign country, but she lost her there too. Esmeralda seemed to have no idea where Aranza was at this point in 2021, and the only thing she could say was a cheap apology. There was a child's life on the line. The suspect's defense lawyer, Darquise Cloutier, said that his client believed Aranza was safe with family, but this was never confirmed at the time. In response, Judge Daniel Stonk of the Clark County Superior Court, was far from impressed. He believed without a second doubt that Esmeralda knew exactly what she was doing, taking the young girl to Mexico. He stated that if the law had permitted it, he would have given her a much harsher sentence. Luckily for Lopez, she was offered an agreement for an easier sentence if she cooperated in the search for Aranza. So she was only sentenced to 20 months in prison, and she will be credited for 14 months of time that she's already served. Okay, before we get too far into things, we want to know what you think about the case so far. Did Esmeralda get the punishment she deserved? Or should she have gotten more time? Who do you think was taking care of Aranza over the years? Well, we'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comments. So if you're enjoying the video so far, be sure to subscribe to the You So Crazy channel and leave a like. Now, back to Aranza's case. With the main kidnapper behind bars, one serious question still remained. Where was little Aranza? At the time she was abducted, she was still just 4 years old. A description of her was issued everywhere, saying she had blue eyes and dark blonde hair. Her picture was also used as the search continued. But after years of being missing, Aranza could have changed. It seemed more and more unlikely that she'd be found as time went on. After all, she was growing up and could look very different than when she originally disappeared. Several agencies specializing in missing child's cases were on the lookout for Aranza, including the FBI, who tirelessly searched for her over 4 years. They offered a whopping $10,000 to anyone who had useful information. The FBI, Vancouver Police Department, and authorities in Mexico combined resources to find her, until finally, the long search came to an end. Aranza was located in the western half of Mexico, in the state of Michoacan. Not many details on how they figured out where she was in February 2023 were revealed to the public. This case is still in the spotlight, so law enforcement is probably intentionally hiding things as it plays out. In a statement written by FBI special agents who helped take Aranza back to the States, they say, Aranza's safety and privacy is of utmost importance. Since so many news outlets are covering her story, they are just trying to keep her safe at this time. While that's completely understandable, many people still wonder what happened to Aranza while she was missing. 4 years is a long time, and she's matured from a toddler into a child. Everything we've mentioned so far has been factual information, but what we're now going to discuss is what possibly happened to Aranza in the 4 years she was missing. There are a lot of theories out there, so just remember, this is all speculative and open to scrutiny. One theory in particular stands out among the rest for its absurdity. The most sane explanation is that Aranza was being taken care of by extended family members in Mexico, but the internet doesn't always latch on to reasonable explanations. Many users on the famous app TikTok have made posts saying what they think went down. There's a very popular page on the platform called Bebop and Bebe with over 6 million followers. The page features a mother and daughter duo who often post videos using trending audios, but their content leaves many with a strange feeling. You see, the two always, in every single TikTok, have heavy makeup on, even the daughter, who only looks to be only 8 or 9 years old. So this strikes most users as odd. A few have noticed that the young girl looks strikingly similar to Aranza Lopez. Their eyes have a shocking likeness when you look at the photos from the time Aranza first went missing and compare them to the girl's eyes in the videos. This resemblance, and the fact that the girls would be similar in age, have prompted theorists to suggest that Aranza is actually the daughter shown in the Bebop and Bebe posts. Now, we know what you're thinking. There's no way. Well, so we're not saying there's any weight to this theory, but there are some strange coincidences that should be explored. Users often comment on the TikToks saying things like, if you're in trouble, wear green in the next video. Many are afraid that Bebop and Bebe are actually being forced by someone to produce content. After seeing these comments, there have been multiple instances where the two actually wear green or do subtle gestures to suggest that something is wrong. Instead of directly addressing all the concerns in a short video, Bebop and Bebe seem to lean into the conspiracies. Many have noticed that the bedroom that they always film videos in is actually just an elaborate set. A few users think that Aranza is the child shown and that she is forced to wear so much makeup to hide her identity, while others believe the mother and daughter are simply being trafficked. Of course, none of this has been backed up by factual evidence. The theories are all just crazy opinions held by people online. But with so many children being kidnapped nowadays, is it really such a leap in logic? To be fair, the girl in Bebop and Bebe is more than likely not Aranza Lopez, but we have no idea what was happening in those 4 years that she was missing. For her sake, We truly hope that family members in Mexico were watching and keeping her safe for all that time. And luckily, Aranza is now in the FBI's custody and will be readjusting to life back in the States over the coming months. We'll have to wait and see if more information on her case is released. Well, thanks for watching today's video. What do you think about the wild TikTok conspiracy involving Aranza? Why do you think people thought it was her? What else do you think could have happened to Aranza during her time in Mexico? Well, let us know what you think in the comments down below. We love hearing from our viewers. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We'll see you next time on You So Crazy.